Hello everybody, welcome back to the Soundhole Podcast, episode 8, I think. I always fucking lose track of the episode number, I don't know why. I think it's just because I've like only recently come back to doing this more regularly. So there's like a bunch of episodes that are from like 2 years ago at this point. My name is Ross, as always. I'm joined today by my good friend Ethan.
Hello. Hello everyone.
Ethan is the drummer from our band SUNMACHINE.
I am the drummer.
Yeah, and what should we start with? How did you get into music, Ethan?
Well,
what got you started on this journey that led you here?
It's a bit of a funny one, really. I mean, I didn't necessarily have much of a say in the matter. I wasn't forced into it at all. But so my dad was a professional musician back in the 80s and 90s, and there was always like drum kits and instruments, and he'd just bring home like random stuff from studios and stuff like that, and they'd just be like, I mean, you're a kid, you see drums, you're just gonna smack shit out of them, like it's a given.
They're just around.
So like, you know, seeing all this like massive, all these gear and all these like proper like turntables and all this big equipment, I sort of just started playing the drums and then took it a little bit more seriously. And as I went through school, just kept playing more and more. Decided, I mean, when I was in primary school, I was playing a lot of drums, but there were quite a lot of other drummers at the school. So I was like, I'm going to start playing guitar then. So I started.
That's interesting. Normally it's the other way around. There's such a shortage of drummers.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, that's what everyone says, and like, but for some reason, like my primary school, my secondary school, it was just full of drummers. There was like no guitarists really. There was like only like one or two. But it's like I'm one of those people that like when I really want to do something, I'll just do anything to do it. So I was like, I'm just going to learn guitar so I can just play music. So, you know, I mean, I really like guitar. It's like you can't really bring a drum set to like a party, let's say, and start. Oh, let me play this song. And just play like Billie Jean beat, and everyone's going to go.
Yeah, so like here's Wonderwall, and just play the fucking drums.
So it's like playing guitar is more like portable. You can actually play songs that people recognise. So it's really nice to be able to play more instruments.
Yeah, I guess it is a objectively more convenient instrument.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
which is why it's interesting that you had so many drummers at your school.
I don't know. I think it might have been just drum lessons were just really popular. There wasn't a lot of guitar lessons and stuff like that in the school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is weird because, I mean, not a lot of parents really want their kids to play drums because
that's also very true. Yeah, I mean, I guess also you'd be in the unique position that your parents do actually want you to play drums.
Yeah, of course. Like it's not going to be a shock if I were to come home with a drum kit sort of thing.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, another one, because it's just full of them. So it's like, yeah, I was quite fortunate in where I actually lived when I grew up. Sort of like in the middle of nowhere-ish, just off the A14. So it was like really loud cars going past all the time, so you could really do anything, and I only had 2 neighbours, so it was like, I'm not really gonna piss anyone off by playing anything. And we had a drum shed in the back, so we had this music shed built in the back of our garden. It's a massive garden, like it just went down for ages, and we at the bottom was a drum shed, and we had like drums in there, amps, guitars, microphones, a lot. And you could go in there at like 3 o'clock in the morning and the sound would completely die before it got anywhere near the other 2 houses.
That's such an
so it was
awesome.
Like, it was the best. Like there was nowhere else I'd like to have grown up than where I did. Because
that's excellent.
Absolutely
just
perfect.
Having the like ability to do that and not worry about pissing anybody off.
Because it's like, obviously I guess it's quite interesting. I've never known what it's like to not really be involved with music. Like I've never listened to music without having a musical mind. Because it's just that's all I've ever known is music. You know what I mean? Like growing up with it, my dad being so involved in it, being surrounded by it. Yeah, I just never really.
It's always been a part of your listening experience, relating to it in that way. Because it like playing an instrument, especially playing multiple instruments, it does change your relationship to music as an art form.
Yeah.
In a good way, I think. Not in a, I don't know. It just changes it. It's not better or worse.
Yeah.
But it's certainly like I guess it can mean that you sort of analyze things a bit more, kind of in relation to your instrument.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good if I'm like listening to songs, because I mean I've never had a lesson in drumming or guitars, or I mean, I play a little bit of piano as well, but I've never had any lessons because I learned through listening and watching.
Have you actually not had lessons?
No,
because you're extremely like adept. You come across like you've been taught rigorously.
No, it's just I've been watching. I just watched, like, I used to watch my dad play because he used to go to his gigs all the time, and I'd watch YouTube videos, which is a great way. Like if anyone is listening and they want to play an instrument, YouTube videos are the best thing ever. You can get like hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of lessons through free music tutorials and stuff like that on YouTube. It's like, I think it's a great thing that's come from that. But I've never had lessons, so I don't know how to read sheet music. I don't understand. I don't actually really know what I'm playing. I just sort of do it. It's like, oh, that sounds alright, so it's just going to happen. Like most of the time I'll just get so lost in what I'm doing, I don't even know what my hands or my feet are actually doing because it's just on autopilot.
Yeah,
it's just sort of just so drilled into me. Yeah, it's weird because I mean most people have lessons, so having not have lessons, it's a weird.
Did your dad teach you at all? Like at least show you things?
Yeah. Like he would, like I'd watch him, which is enough for me. That's just the way I learn. So that was enough to like teach me things. But he's never, like, I'm sure he has at some points, but he's never really sat me down and like taught me like certain rudiments and stuff like that. Because it's not really the way I learn. That's why I probably never really got on with school very well, because I didn't really like just sitting there like copying and reading and writing textbooks and stuff like that, because it just loses. It comes straight out of my head as soon as I learned it, because it's just, some people learn in different ways.
Yeah, I had a similar kind of experience with school. Like I didn't really bin it off per se, but I never really tried. I was always sort of just interested in other sort of peripheral things. Music was definitely one. I mean, did you like study music at all? Did you do like music GCSE?
Yeah.
Because like I think I've already said this on possibly 2 previous episodes, but I'll say it again. When I was a kid, like a little kid, even like a young teenager, I basically didn't have any interest in music. I didn't even have. It's not that I didn't like it. I mean, I'd listen to music and enjoy music, but
you weren't really exposed to it.
No, I wouldn't really. Yeah, I wouldn't really like put music on. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't have a favorite band, and
yeah.
I mean, my parents kind of like showed me the music that they liked, and I liked it. It was good music, but I couldn't tell you what it was called. Right?
Yeah.
And then like I think my biggest entry point to music was genuinely probably Guitar Hero.
Yeah, no, that's what really got me into guitar as well. I think it's wicked.
It is wicked because it's
a really fun game, but like you actually learn quite a bit about music doing it.
At least the like physical aspect of it, yeah. Because my stepdad basically got me playing guitar because he was like, you can't just play Guitar Hero, basically. And I was like, yeah, fair. And then I started playing guitar, and then I had guitar lessons, but my guitar teacher was a bassist primarily, and then I kind of became more infatuated with bass over time. So I still play both guitar and bass, but
see, I feel like that doesn't happen massively. I'd say like people, the typical thing is like, oh, guitarists are so cool, they're so on the stage, everyone looks at them and all that. And bass players, it's they're not really like looked up to as much as
they're not. It's
sort of the same with drummers, but drummers are at least unique. The fact that no one else is like playing the drums. You've obviously got 2 to 3 guitarists on the stage at all time, but like there's only one drummer, so that's the only thing that brings the drummer out a bit more. Yeah, is the fact there's a drummer. But bass players, I mean, for people who don't know a lot about music, they wouldn't really know how important bass is, because the bass and drums, coming from any perspective, is the most important part as a bass line, as the texture of music goes. Because
I was always much more interested in bass, in how bass interacts with the rest of the music than guitar,
and that really comes through your playing. That really, because that's the first thing I noticed.
Thank you, man.
When I was listening to your guys' stuff, like how you work with the guitar is something I've never really heard before, because you just know how to do your role like very, very well. Yeah, because I mean, I play guitar, so like I understand what Jake is doing, but it's fully like his domain, and it's my sort of role as the bass player is to, I write stuff with him, and then I write stuff around him. Yeah. Bass is I'm just more interested in what the bass guitar does
within music, because you get to have the last say on what everything else means, even if like what you're doing is physically simpler.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's quite,
stuff you play, like you're doing chords and
big stretches and stuff.
Yeah.
I just find that more fun than writing guitar parts. I couldn't really tell you why. It's just I like how I like the interaction with the rhythm of the song. You get to have the kind of final say on what the piece of music means, and sometimes the absence of bass is the bass line in a way.
Oh, of course,
which sounds like such a wanky thing to say, but genuinely, like for our song Wake, there's no bass in the first verse, and there's a reason for that. It's just because it allows this tension to build, like there's this gap that's there, and then when the bass does come in, it feels more impactful. If I was to play some stuff in the verse there, it would just kind
wouldn't mean as much when it comes into the chorus, because it's like it makes the chorus massive. People who don't know it like in depth a lot about music, they'd still know something isn't right by the fact that there's no bass, because you feel bass probably a little bit more than you actually hear it. So like they know something's not, something's missing, and then when it comes in and it's the big chorus, especially Wake, because it's like a really nice, like slow, melodic, hard hitting chorus, when that bass comes in, it just
it's these big
it.
kind of low open strings, and like just the roots of the chords, and then throwing in sort of embellishments as well. Essentially, like helping define the chord that is being played, but then kind of locking that in with the drums as well. That's what I mostly do.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. Like bass and drums, like, they work together a lot, and if they don't work together, it's quite obvious that they're not working together. Sometimes you can go off, like you can not work together rhythmically and it works, but like you can really tell if a band's got good chemistry by the fact that if their bass and drums are like locked in. Because like my favourite part about playing drums is like I do a lot of like, I guess, well, it makes sense to me, so a lot of my snare stuff I'll match up with the guitar, and a lot of my like kick drum and toms I'll match up with the bass. And I feel like even though we haven't really played and haven't really actually known each other for very long, not even, it's only about half a year now, that chemistry come really quickly for me.
Me too.
And like even when because we do rehearsals most Sundays, and sometimes if it's just me and you in the room, we'll just start jamming, and it just, like we did last Sunday.
And
it just sort of like, we know exactly where it's going, and we can like talk to each other like almost, it feels like it's telepathically. That's when you're like,
that's such good practice as well, to like link up together, because ultimately, like in a band, if everyone just tries to do their own thing constantly, it's just not going to work out.
No, if you're fighting each other, especially on stage, it's very obvious and it does not work.
That's kind of the biggest giveaway when a band hasn't been practicing together that long. Where you just, it's the little things. You're not individually doing anything wrong or making mistakes particularly. You're just not locking in. And like, we got a really nice compliment, I think, on our first gig we did together, which was only 2 months after I actually joined the band. We were outside talking to another band, I think it's the people who come on after us, and they were like, "Oh, you can really you guys really sounded cool. How long have you been playing together?" And then I know that Jake said, "Oh, we've been playing together about 10 years," and he was like, "Oh, you can really tell like the way that you're all playing with each other." And then Jake goes, "Oh, well, actually, the drummer's actually sort of only really known us for about 2 months." And it's like, if you say, "Oh yeah, we've all known each other for 10 years," and like people believe that, especially other musicians, that we've got the chemistry is like spot on. That's the main thing with a band, and to be able to have that so quickly, it's meant to be. Yeah, exactly. I'm very glad to have you on board.
Oh yeah, I'm glad to be here. I guess we could talk about how I joined the band.
Yeah.
Because
how did we meet?
So I have a job, obviously. Unfortunately, I can't live off music just yet, and I'm an installer for a company, and I work with someone called Steve.
Shout out Steve.
And this one particular Steve has a nephew called Kieran.
Which some of you may recognise.
You may recognise the name, because Kieran is the front man of SUNMACHINE. And Big Steve's, we were out together doing work, and he goes, "Oh, my nephew's band's looking for a drummer," and he knows that I was just dying to play some music. After I left college, I had like no exposure to like playing with a band for so long. I was like, just please. I was doing open mic nights for like 3 nights a week, just trying to get, you know, something to spark. And I messaged you guys, all sounded really cool. We went up, met up for a audition, as it be called. And that was sort of it. Sort of, it all happened in that one day. I think it was a...
Yeah, it was a very quick sort of thing. It was, you know, guy knows a guy sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then we just have like one... We didn't want to call it an audition.
No, because it wasn't. It was just, it's just
kind of
only
jamming,
what you
but
can really call it, I guess.
It just worked.
Yeah,
And then we were like, do you want to do this? And we were like, yeah.
Hell yeah.
It was very natural.
It was, yeah. I mean, we all met up and it was like, we all got on quite instantly. And then the music sort of just flew, just was going, and it was good.
It's also like just the fact that you listened to the songs and like learnt them. We were like, oh, that's so nice that someone cares. It was surprising how much you'd already learnt before you joined the band. You know? So we did sort of, you know, jam with a couple of other people, and we were only, you know, expecting them to like learn like 1 or 2 songs, but there's an inherent chemistry,
Of course.
that can be in bands that is very good to have right from the get-go.
Yeah. Because I just
it's also just an availability thing, because, you know, you're keen to gig, we're keen to gig.
Hell yeah,
a lot of people are like, yeah, you know, I you know, gig sometimes, but
yeah, I mean, you get some people who just want to do like cover bands and pubs and stuff like that, because I mean, you know, that gets you a fair bit of money, fair bit of cash in hand, stuff like that, because, you know, people want that.
Oh yeah, the only time I've like earned good money from music is one time I was in a band that did like a function gig.
Yeah.
And we got paid well.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh cool, well I know now that if I actually want to make some fucking money doing this, I can just do that.
Yeah. But it's like, I didn't knew exactly what your goals were, like as a band and stuff like that. So me wanting to like make it as a musician, if you will, knowing, me coming into that space with you guys with that in my mind, and then for you to all want the same thing, definitely helped.
Yeah, being on the same page.
Yeah, exactly.
Immediately.
Because you know, some people do just want to just like playing a little bit of music every now and again, and some people just want to do cover stuff. But if you're all hungry for actually doing it properly, then that just makes that's the main difference. And that's why I think, I mean, you've only been a band for about 1.5 years, coming up to 2 years now.
We're still kind of, we're almost still like, we know what we want to do. We like what we're writing currently and stuff. But I guess we're still defining the sort of identity of the band, of the project.
Yeah.
That is a big part of it. Being able to say like, this sounds like SUNMACHINE, this doesn't sound like SUNMACHINE. If you know, when we're coming up with ideas, and if we still like an idea that doesn't sound like SUNMACHINE, it's like, how do we make it sound like SUNMACHINE?
Yeah, of course, because you can obviously veer off a little bit, but you don't want to. We're not going to start just like busting out some indie music, because obviously that just wouldn't really flow.
Yeah, like I mean, at least
you can,
sticking it very specifically to a different genre very suddenly wouldn't be natural, but maybe imparting our own kind of spin on it.
Yeah, because it's like because in the album, which I didn't record, but in the album, just from listening to it, I mean, you've got 1 or 2 ballads in there, you've got some heavy all the way through sort of songs in there as well, and it all still flows really well. Flows really nice actually, like when you're listening to the whole album, and that's what it's about. Like, you don't just want to be playing the same thing, like starts off guitar riff, comes in drums, and then just like dum 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 all the way to the end and then stop. Because you don't want it to be exactly the same, you know, every song. But having the ballads, having the slower songs, faster songs, but it all marrying up together is how you write an album. Is how it should be done. Yeah,
exactly. Kind of having that flow to it.
Yeah, of course.
I was gonna segue into this more fluidly. But I couldn't think of a way to do it. What sort of music influenced your playing? Because you have a very diverse musical background.
Yeah.
It might be surprising for like someone that's in a rock band.
Yeah, heavier rock band sort of thing. Yeah. So I mean, my dad's sort of music, the stuff he listened to, the stuff he was playing was it was actually one like sort of where indie sort of first started coming from, like 80s and stuff like that. I mean, it's called indie now, but it wasn't really, people didn't really know what it really was. Yeah, indie music. I mean, I do like, I mean, I like any music and I play any music, but indie music was sort of where it started. I did start getting into heavier stuff like Linkin Park, one of my favourite bands. Still are, obviously.
Hell yeah.
And I think some of that stuff does come through for definite. I mean, it's hard not to. I mean, if you're listening to bands, if you've got favourite bands and then you play an instrument, it's gonna sort of stuff you're gonna do because you're just hearing it all the time. It's gonna come through and you're playing. But then I started getting like quite into like jazz and funk and fusion and a bit of R&B and stuff, just because it's really technical on the drums. And I started falling back into love with drums again because I started playing guitar for quite a while in college, and then started playing drums again. Jazz fusion was sort of where I had it set. Was like, this is really cool, because it took my drumming. I mean, I sort of stopped playing for quite a while, the drums. Then when I started playing it again, I just wasn't very good. Like, I wasn't actually like technically very good. My wrists weren't very like strong and stuff like that. But like jazz, you got to have strong wrists. You got to be able to like to roll and to buzz, and like, because it's all like fine detail, stuff like that. Which is it's quite common though. Like, quite a lot of like heavy metal. Obviously, we're not heavy metal, but quite a lot of heavy metal musicians, like the drummers, actually have quite a big jazz background. Because it's just so intricate. Yeah. Because jazz and heavy metal, you know, bass line is very quick, very fast, like very fast rolls and intricate stuff, like time signatures as well. That's a big one, because jazz is, I mean, anything could be jazz. It's like so many time signatures, changes and stuff like that, which is what you hear quite a lot in heavier music. So having that sort of background with like quite strong wrists, quite fast, bringing that into this like heavier rock band, I think it's sort of solidified quite nicely in what's happening. I think there's obviously there'll be quite a big change from the album to the two singles that are coming out, but I think it still sounds the same. But it's like, I mean, as soon as you change drummer, it's going to sound massively different anyway. Yeah,
I think people underestimate how much of a difference that makes, because I mean, you know, in a band, everyone builds the bigger picture together. Yeah. And the drums impart such a character on the songs, and I mean, it's obviously not really involved with like what key a song is in.
Of course,
the kind of things that people, or like the melody or the vocals, like people. Yeah. The things that people primarily associate with specific bits of music. But the drums in a band, I mean, it sounds totally different playing with you than any other drummer. You know? It sounds completely different, and because you impart your own character onto the music, and you can really hear your jazz background. I think it does make sense to have that as a background for like a prog rock band. Because you have so many intricacies in the way that you're playing. I mean, all the like the ghost notes that you're throwing in. It's such a it's a huge level of control over the music. Yeah, I mean, I in a good way.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it just I mean, like I said, I don't even know I'm doing it half the time, but it's whatever feels right, and it sort of just works. And as long as everyone else thinks it works, I mean, it's coming through. I think it's working really well with the way I'm playing. But yeah, I love that sort of intricate stuff, because you can really build on it. And like I said, like quite in some of the new song, or the two new songs that are coming out, there's quite a lot of me matching what the guitar is doing through just like really small touches on the snare, building up to like bigger hits on everything, and matching up hits with cymbals and stuff like that. You've just got to really be quite upbeat, and you got to really like put a lot of effort in, because drumming's very physical, and you can really tell when someone's not giving it their all. Because I could sit there and just be completely emotionless and just hit stuff, but if you're like, you know, not dancing but sort of like bopping with the music and putting your body weight into hitting these cymbals and stuff like that, it makes a massive difference. Like the energy levels, you can hear it, especially through recording, which is a massive
because you have ultimate control over the dynamics of the song.
Yeah,
really.
Massively.
You can kind of dictate where the sort of impact hits, you know. But then also, like, you're not. It was kind of like what we were saying before about in a band potentially sort of playing against each other in a bad way. Like, you're not doing that because you'll hear what the riff is doing and only work to accentuate it.
Yeah.
It's great how we're working together.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think the songs are sounding similar. You know, they're very still SUNMACHINE, but I think it's obviously taken a different path, because it's going to have to. You know, new person in the band. Yeah, it can't be exactly the same.
And the stuff we've been writing has been pretty different to the album. I mean, it's not like a genre change.
No.
It's a different level and different way of writing, for sure. It's definitely a bit more collaborative, I think.
Different way of recording as well, because it was live recorded on the album.
Yeah, it was mostly live recorded on the album, at least the rhythm section, including the rhythm guitar, was all recorded live. But yeah, we've been. I guess we should talk about.
Yeah.
I think I did mention this on the previous episode.
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about
it.
recording drums, because I fucking love recording drums.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many variables, because obviously there's so many drums, so many different sounds, and there's so many different microphones you need and can use, and then there's also room microphones, stuff like that. And I mean, you and me both, we know a little bit about. I mean, I know a little bit about like the engineering side. So I sort of know what's going on, but obviously you know exactly what you're doing and exactly what's going on.
I'm still learning.
It's different. It's because I did quite a lot of it in college, and I really liked it. Yeah, you can definitely tell that it's a different level, like with the placement of the microphone stuff you were doing, and you just actually have like a really good idea of like where to put the microphones and where like what difference it's going to make. It's
something I find like infinitely interesting is recording drums specifically. I mean, I like recording everything.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Drums are such a more how do I say it? I mean, it's kind of obvious in the setup. Typically, there's more microphones involved. There's more sources of sound.
Yeah.
There's more sources of sound, but then also when it comes to like the ambience of where it's recorded, the drums interact with that space a bit more than other things generally do.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you may, depending on what you're recording, you may want to record everything totally dry.
Yeah,
and that's cool too.
Yeah,
but I mean, I like roomy sounding drums. Not too roomy that it gets in the way, but I like having the option to. I like things that sound like they're in a real space, because they are.
Yeah, you don't want to take that away from it. You don't want it to sound like a drum machine or something like that. Like it's got to have a bit of life. It's got to have a bit like.
Yeah.
Sometimes
real
dry
sounds can be really nice, though. I find in a lot of like indie having like really dry, snappy drums. Almost dull sounding can be really nice.
Yeah,
it all depends on the music, but for kind of big, powerful, cinematic, bombastic rock music, I do like roomy drums.
Yeah, but it's like with the recording process as well, is it actually matters massively what's in that room. Because all the sounds bouncing off of different things and different materials are bouncing back onto, having different sounds after they bounce back off them and stuff like that. And it's crazy how in depth you can actually get with recording, but drums really bring that out because there's so many different variables. Massive, like so many different variables. If you're doing like, obviously when you're recording bass and guitar, you can have like quite a few different microphones. You can have like, you could do a bit of a room sort of style, but at the end of the day, it's just whatever you're putting into the amp, then coming out and just recording it, sort of thing. Unless you're doing like a half DI or just straight DI or something like that. But with drums, you just got to pick up these bits of wood with like you're hitting sort of like skin over it and stuff like that. Like there's more of an application of physics, I suppose, to recording drums. Massively,
Not that like I'm sitting there crunching numbers or anything, but just in the sense that. Microphone choices.
Yeah, massive.
Right? There's so many. There's more well-trodden paths with certain things in drums, like stick an SM57 on the snare. And stuff like that. But then there's other directions you can take things, like what did we use for the snare drum? I don't even remember.
I can't remember. We had a top and bottom. Yeah. But they were facing. One was facing down straight at the same point that the one was facing up at.
Oh yeah.
So it was like
top and bottom
in a line.
Snares.
I can't actually remember.
Did the same with the toms.
We did do the same with the toms, yeah.
But I mean, I was going to just say, for example, you could use a small diaphragm condenser for the snare instead, or as well, because it's more snappy.
Yeah.
But then if you're getting hi-hat bleed, it could be a little bit worse. Yeah. Depending, again, it all depends on what's going on in the kit, right?
Of course,
so there's all these. It's kind of a compromise at the end of the day, but if you make it work in a nice, pleasing way, you just. Getting a natural sounding drum kit that still packs a punch is so satisfying. It's more satisfying to me generally than having a really clean drum sound.
Yeah, I mean...
I guess the approach for our recording was just leaving our options open, though, because we could have it, depending on what I do in the mix, we could have it totally dry.
Yeah, because
we can fade in these room mics whenever we want.
Yeah, because we had 2 sets of room mics.
Yeah. And they sound drastically different as well.
Oh yeah, massively. Well, it's just where it is, and because we used 2 ribbon mics and 2 were they just condensers?
Yeah, they were C414s. Yeah, so what we did with the room mics is we had a spaced pair of ribbon microphones pointing down at the floor and therefore also up at the ceiling, because it's a figure of 8.
Yeah.
So the tops of them were facing the kit, which means that the direct sound from the kit, it's not really hitting the mics that much.
Yeah.
It's more just picking up the room sound, the reflections from the floor and the ceiling,
Yeah.
which might at first sound like a strange thing to do, but the reason why you do that is so that the direct sound in the ribbon room microphones isn't really interfering that much with the direct sound from, you know, the direct microphones.
Yeah, because obviously you're already recording.
It's to separate that in the recordings.
Definitely, because you're already recording like the actual different drums. But what you want to really, the aim to capture in room miking is how it's interacting with the room.
Yeah.
So you want to pick that up, and that's a great way of doing it. Having it coming up, so you're getting like the low end and the bottoms of the toms and the bass drum and stuff rising from going down to the floor, rising up to the microphone, and the cymbals are sort of going up, hitting the ceiling, coming back down onto the top of the microphone, and you're getting loads of different sounds and stuff like that. And it's
I suppose the methodology was like, because we double mic'd pretty much all the shells, like the kick in, kick out, snare top, snare bottom, top and bottom mics for all the toms.
Yeah.
And then we had small diaphragm condensers and an XY configuration for the overheads.
Yeah.
Hi-hat mic as well.
Yeah.
Close mic stuff was very like controlled, malleable in the mix, picking up all the fine details in isolation as far as possible. And then with the room mics, it was, you know, it's about capturing the chaos of the room.
Of course,
And then we also had the mid-side microphone configuration. And I was only going to have one of the room mic configurations going at once.
Yeah.
Maybe use one for one song, one for the other. But I'm pretty set on using both.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the mid-side microphones, it was two C414 microphones. In the mix, they were initially kind of, you could hear some like phase distortion, some interference with the other room mics. So then what I did was because the mid-side mics were a bit further back from the rest of the kit anyway.
That's right, yeah. It was like
they were facing the kit.
Yeah.
So it was like the kit from a distance, unlike the ribbon microphones. But what I did was I delayed the mid-side mics by about 15 milliseconds.
Okay.
So it's basically getting it out of the way of phase cancellations.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not getting it out of the way so far that it sounds like an echo, like a slapback effect.
Yeah.
It's that kind of sweet spot between it sounding like an echo and it starting to interfere with the sound.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's called the Haas effect. And having the two sets of room mics with all these, you know, lovely spot mics sounds really fucking good.
Oh yeah,
That
it
was
is sounding. I mean, even
it picks up all the intricacies you were doing, which is the most important thing.
Of course. And it's even with just like the raw sound, like after when we go into the control room and listen back to it, it's still sounding really, really good. And then obviously we haven't even done a lot of mixing and stuff like that, but when that comes through, it's going to be, you know, different ball game.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, because it's just crazy how much like goes into making music. I mean, I've done a little bit of recording stuff in college, but nowhere near as intricate and as good as what we're doing now. Like what we just recorded a few weeks ago. And there's just so much that goes into it that the average person's never going to know. They just listen to this music, but all these different microphones are placed in a certain spot like perfectly, and then they're all getting controlled through different programs and different preamps and all this stuff. And it's like, it's mental how much actually goes into making this music.
Yeah, it is.
How many paths you can take as well.
It is, but there's also something to be said about a minimalist approach, which I don't think we'd do. But certainly, you can get a great drum sound with 3 mics.
Yeah.
You know, you can do it. You just got to be careful about. You just have to be careful about all the same things that you would be anyway, but just considering the fact that you've only got 3 microphones to work with. I mean, everyone's done the Glyn Johns configuration. So you have the kick mic and then the sort of top overhead mic and then the side mic, kind of equidistant to the snare drum.
That's right.
That's great. Just do that in a good sounding room and chuck it through a fat old compressor and it'll sound good. You know?
I remember my dad telling me a story. So when he was doing hundreds of hours of studio work, because he was getting, his mate. He was really good mates with Owen Morris, who's a very famous producer who produced his band and also Oasis and loads of other people, and he really knew his stuff. And they would do a lot of recording in Wales. He'd go over there all the time. And there was this one time where they did some drum recording, but they just used one overhead just right over the top of his of my dad's head, and he said it was like one of the nicest sounds for the room they were in, and how what the microphone was and how they were using it for. Like, it was just completely different. And obviously you can double up everything and stuff like that, but you know, there's so many different ways of doing it. Using less mics can bring out different things, for sure.
Yeah. There's just less interaction there, which can be a good thing.
Yeah.
You just have this sort of singular transducer in the mix that's doing all of the
and then it's really up to how you do it, how you mix it and master it, and what sort of stuff you bring out to then get all the sounds coming through how you want them to, because obviously you need to pick up the kick. So it's how you actually do that post-production, how you actually bring it out is where the interest comes through.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
100%.
It's like, I mean, I don't think it actually like was like a proper serious recording, but it was just something that they were just, you know, messing around doing, and it's like quite cool.
Yeah, there's such a it can seem so complicated recording stuff, and it is.
Yeah,
and you can make it as complicated as you want, but that's the thing. It's all about your intention and ultimately making the best of what you've got. Not even in a compromising way. It's just like, seriously, like if you have a good sounding kit in a good sounding room and a good drummer, whatever instrument, whatever musician, you know, just do your best to record it with what you've got, and it'll probably be fine, dude.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason we took such a meticulous approach is because we could.
Yeah. We had that. We had the space. We had the time.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to.
And we're trying to make a modern rock record.
Yeah.
Two modern rock songs rather.
Yeah.
That sound bombastic and controlled, yet also chaotic. The philosophy of it is endlessly complicated, and that's why it's interesting.
100%, yeah. But I feel like having all those variables is never a bad thing to have.
No.
Because I mean, we could cut it all back and just have
that's the
one
thing,
microphone per drum. And it's the same thing.
That's the thing. Yeah, we could get rid of the bottom microphone. I'm not sure why we would.
No, but
we like how it sounds. But you're right. We could get rid of the room mics.
Yeah.
If we were like, we just don't like it. Okay.
But if you record it with all of it, because obviously recording, you know, hiring out the studio space, if you're not lucky enough to have someone like Ross in the band who can actually engineer the session, you're paying for that. You're paying for all these different things, and it gets really, really expensive doing recording. I mean, luckily we have somewhere quite close that was, you know, quite reasonably priced for
Half Ton Studios.
Yeah.
Excellent studios in Cambridge.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it was brilliant in there. It's everything you can need and would need. You could do pretty much anything in the studio.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it gets pretty expensive, and obviously if you're not a big band and you're not making a lot of money, using the time in the best that you can by just spending another we probably spent about an hour, 2 hours setting up all the microphones we wanted. I mean, then we can then choose if we want to do it or not, like use them all or not.
Yeah, that's definitely true as well, because if we were in more of a rush, we probably wouldn't have done that, and the outcome would have also probably been fine.
Yeah. But it's just having the ability to be able to use all the microphones if you want to. Just let them all go. You have that ability because of the microphones we used. Yeah. So you can cut it right back. You can, you know, I mean, it's just definitely was not a bad choice in the recording process. I had a really good time, and I think it sounds great. It's going to sound immense.
I'm currently still in the middle of recording some piano.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I was meant to have had done by now.
Can't rush art.
No. Yeah, I was in the middle of recording it, and I got a bit sort of in my own head about it, because you can talk about the recording technique, you know, all you want, but also like playing the music that's being recorded. You can get into the best performances usually just kind of come from this excited flow state of like, you're not particularly pissed off, you're not particularly thinking about anything, you're just enjoying what you're doing. Yeah. And I guess I need to find that with this piano this piano piece that I'm trying to play on top of one of the songs.
It is.
Ideally, I just hit record and play the whole thing in one and have a good performance of that. But what I was doing is like, oh no, I'll do it in bits. And it's like, I'll do it in these smaller and smaller bits, and because, you know, then it's manageable. I can just go through like bit by bit, and then you end up like fretting over individual bars, and it just doesn't sound very coherent. Obviously, you want it to be good. Yeah. But there's a balance there too, where it's like, oh, I'll just read you that bit. I'll read you that bit, and then you end up with this like Frankenstein's monster of a cake.
Yeah, there's a limit. There's definitely a limit to how much you can, you know, cut and slice and add to and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I kind of had to come away from it and be like,
fair. I mean,
no, there's a better result that I'll get when I'm in the right
exactly.
mindset.
I mean, that's what you need to do. I mean, if you know you're not going to be happy. I mean, you know as soon as you've recorded something or as soon as you've finished a project, you know instantly if you're happy or not. If you're just like, oh, for the sake of me having to redo it again, let's just keep it. It's just going to bug you. Like, it's going to be horrible listening back to it and having to play it, especially when we have to play it on stage. You're going to go, oh, I really wish I didn't do it like this. But, you know, if it's going to take an extra day or two, I mean, let it. I mean, this particular piano part that Ross is recording is it changes the song massively, and it's something I've actually like really fallen in love with, because I think going back to me working with the other instrumentation and changing my drums to it, I've worked alongside that piano and changed different things to match it. So it really needs to come through the energy that we want it to come through with, and if that means to record it again another day or something like that, you need to keep that energy. It needs to be, you know.
Yeah. Your heart
it needs to be there.
in it.
Yeah, 100%. When you listen to that in the near future, later on this year, just know that that piano piece is immense, and you'll hear that.
Thank you, man.
No,
I'm excited
wicked.
for everyone
It's
else
so
to hear it.
And also, you're going to have to come watch us live, because Ross is actually playing 2 instruments at once.
Oh yeah. That's going to be. I mean, I've done it in practice.
Yeah, I mean, you've been nailing it in rehearsal.
Gonna have to start doing that every gig. That's cool though. I like doing that.
Yeah.
I've done that before. We did for the album launch show, we did a cover of Bloodsport by Sleep Token. So I was playing keyboard for the first half and then jumped on the bass for the big loud bit at the end.
Which is the same sort of thing with this one.
Yeah, structurally it is actually pretty
yeah.
similar, but
that's wicked. Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. It's it'd be quite interesting to hear it live.
Yeah.
I can't wait to actually be able to start playing it soon.
I'm thinking of changing it up a bit and having like a smaller keyboard playing like a nice kind of warbly synth sound for when we do it live. Because I also do like change. I like seeing bands and they change things up a bit live.
Yeah,
they have like this just little alteration.
That's definitely what I do with my drumming.
Yeah,
like, I'll play it a little bit different to what I've recorded it like.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing like with playing the songs from the album. I've changed them a little bit, and it's just it does make a massive difference, because then when you listen to it, it's like listening to. You go, oh, they didn't do that, but they've got that instead, and it's a bit more interesting when if you make a couple of fans at a gig and they listen back to the music, they go, oh, that's really cool. They don't do that in the recording, but they do this. There's another thing I can listen to. It's like a new song.
Yeah, because there's different contexts there. Because I mean, some things do work better live than in a recording,
of course,
and vice versa. I mean, it's like what did we do with the guitar recording? I mean, we double tracked all the rhythm guitar. In some places, quad tracked it.
Yeah.
And we don't have 4 guitarists. We've got one. I don't think we want 4 guitarists. We like our Jake. How
they wouldn't want 4 of him, and then after if possible.
So I mean, there's that. But that makes sense in the recording, because then you have this nice big wide rhythm guitar sound, and then live that doesn't really matter so much.
No, I mean, you've got to go off the energy as well, because obviously there's a lot more energy in playing live, and if you're going off of the crowd and stuff like that, like it's a different ball game, really. I mean, recording, you've sort of just got everything. You need to get everything coming out that you want recorded, and you need everything quite straight and quite on the dot. In actually performing, you can change things up quite a lot, but still be having the same song. It's not a completely different song or anything like that.
Speaking of gigging, what have I written down here? Gigging. First times gigging. Where we've been so far and where we're going next.
Yeah, so for me, it's this is my first like band that I'm actually properly gigging. I've never actually gigged outside of Cambridge until
really?
Yeah, never actually gigged outside of Cambridge before I joined SUNMACHINE. It's just been really cool, like travelling to all these places, going to these different venues. Like some of them are quite famous. Like we went to
Dublin Castle in London. That was a really cool gig.
Yeah, and there was like Amy Winehouse used to play there, and other bands and stuff like that. Like sort of started there, and it's really cool to go to these different places and meet different people. Because I mean, we've done quite a few in London. Today, actually, in about an hour, we're going off to Leicester.
Yeah, I've never been to Leicester before.
No, I've worked there a couple of times, but I never actually got to go around Leicester. Where else have we played? Obviously Cambridge, played St Albans, which is almost London.
Yeah, we played. It was the Horn
yeah.
pub
Yeah,
in the
that was
Pornhub Horn pub in St Albans, which is another awesome venue.
Yeah, that's a really nice venue. Yeah, we went Milton Keynes. We've done a couple of Milton Keynes since I've joined.
Yeah.
But yeah, like
Milton Keynes music scene is actually great.
It's really good. Yeah, and like actually gigging properly has been really cool. Something I obviously really want to do, and just coming into this band has just unlocked all these different things, like proper recording sessions, proper gigs, proper music. It's just proper band. It's like actually doing it properly. I mean, I did music in college. I took it as I did performance and production mixed in college, and I've had like you get paired with people, you do band stuff. I met some really cool people I still talk to now. We had a band there. The college like record label picked us up. We were doing some we did some recording with them. That was pretty cool. But like it's nothing compared to this. Like this is like doing it properly, and this is exactly what I want to be doing. And definitely from how it's been going and everything that you guys have achieved before I joined and everything we're now achieving now. In such short time, I think it's gonna go pretty well. I reckon it's going well, and I think it's gonna take off. But I mean, that's what you got to think. You got to think like that.
Yeah.
Because we're all hungry for it. But if you're not obsessed, then it's not gonna happen.
I guess we're all sort of at the same point now where we're so comfortable doing it and being performing musicians in an original band, and it just kind of becomes a part of your life, which is a really nice thing. But then we're still hungry to do more. We want to be doing gigs at least weekly, maybe more than that.
Oh hell yeah!
And I mean, we want it to be our just our source of income.
I was going to say that's
not in the sense that like I don't know, because you have to manage your expectations. It's just I think we all share the same aspiration, though, that is just simply we want to be able to live off this.
I was going to say, I think the main goal for me, I know it's the main goal for Jake, and I'm assuming it's the main goal for you and probably Kieran, is this is something we're so passionate about, to be able to actually say we can quit our jobs and live off music, which would be a dream come true for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, that is.
Even for me, I like my job.
Yeah, of course. No, I like my job.
I like my like actual job.
Because your job's very involved with music. I mean, mine's completely different. Mine's just like handiwork sort of thing. Being able to or just having the option, just being able to make as much or a bit more money that you are at your normal job is a milestone and something that I can't wait to achieve, because you've got to have that mentality that you're going to do it.
Having that goal to just make it an even bigger part of your life, the thing that you primarily enjoy doing, and everyone has those. It's I think it's a healthy thing to have. It motivates you. My aspiration has pretty much for my entire adult life has always been to live primarily just off recording and performing music, and writing music, of course, as well. That's my aspiration.
Definitely, I can't wait. I think it's going to be.
Speaking of where we're going to be gigging again, we haven't played a Cambridge show in a little while, but we are going to be doing I hope it's okay for us to talk about this now.
That's right.
It's fine. We are going to be doing a hometown Cambridge show later in the year.
We are
celebrating a certain release of a thing that we're currently working on.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about it further right now, but we will. So stay tuned.
100%. I mean, definitely keep your ears and eyes out for that, because that's going to be a pretty cool gig, and I reckon the tickets might flying off pretty quickly for that one.
Yeah, I reckon that we are going to be. There is going to be some level of demand.
Oh, 100%. It's not one to sleep. It's not one to sleep on. You need to be there.
Yeah, I think we're going to sell at the very least some of the tickets.
Oh yeah,
at the very least. I think, but maybe more, maybe most of them, maybe all of them.
You never know.
At the very least, some of them.
But I mean,
gone.
Even if you're just looking out for it on the socials, that's going to be a pretty cool gig to see and watch back on and stuff. Because that's going to be, especially for me being part of the band, it's going to be the first headline our own show type of deal. Because last time we played Cambridge, we were opening, but it was like my first gig with you guys, so it didn't. Really
That was at the 6-6 bar.
That was at the 6-6, yeah, which is a great place. It was a great night.
Yeah, I love the 6-6.
Hell yeah, I was there last night actually.
Me too. Although I think I was there after you were there.
Oh right, yeah.
I got there at like fucking 11.
Okay, no, I've been gone. Yeah. I was watching band called In Cairo who we did some recording and mixing.
Well, you did the recording.
I did the
helped out a
recording.
bit with the mixing.
And then we did the mixing. They played their first Cambridge gig, which is very good. They played very well. They're very awesome to watch. So I thought I'd have to come down and support them.
Good stuff. Shout out In Cairo.
Yeah, shout out In Cairo. So it was wicked. But yeah, so it was a great first gig. Obviously, I think if the first gig that I played with you guys was a headline show, it would be a bit too much for me, because I'd only had a certain amount of time to learn all the songs, and there was like 6 or 7 songs to learn. So it's like, all right, doing an opening slot, especially for Cambridge gig as well. It was a really nice first gig to do.
Yeah, because it's always nice playing hometown shows because you don't have to travel very far.
But unfortunately, you can't do them too often because then people won't come. And that's what you need.
Yeah, that's the other balance, because it's ideally you'd take every gig that you can, but if you play the same place too many times, then you do just see the sort of demand sort of dwindle a bit. I mean, even playing the same town like 3 weeks apart, it's still like, what, you're gonna ask all your friends to like come back again? I mean, maybe some of them will. It's not like a rude thing to ask particularly, but it's just like there's only so much time, and all these people only saw you 3 weeks ago.
Exactly. And if you're definitely not going to have any new songs in that 3 weeks, so it's pretty much going to be the same set list. So it's like rewatching a film again, like a couple of weeks after. It'll still be good, but like...
Yeah. I've done that before in previous bands where, especially when you're younger and you can't travel that far. I have performed in Cambridge in the same band, like even like a week apart.
Yeah.
And when you're young and you're just doing every single gig that you can, that's totally cool as well.
Yeah.
Because also there are going to be, you're playing with different bands. There'll be different people there organically each time. But I think it's also from the venue's point of view.
Yeah, of course,
because then it feels like they're competing against each other when they don't really have to be.
Yeah, and I guess the worst thing would be to be the second venue, because the first one's going to draw a lot of attention, and everyone's going to want to come, because let's say you haven't done it for 6 months, and then you do the first Cambridge gig or the first hometown gig since then. It's going to be a lot bigger. A lot of people are going to come. You're going to get all your friends, all your family down, and then you're like, oh yeah, but then we're playing this down the road in a couple of more weeks, and they're like. And then the venue's gonna be like, come on, like we just see now like how popping this gig was before, and now it's gonna, it's not gonna be that same energy again. But obviously, I mean, it's just something we got to account for.
Yeah, exactly.
But that makes it nicer, like taking a break, coming back to your hometown and doing gigs. It makes it a lot nicer when you actually do it, because it's bigger. You actually get like a packed out place, because it's all being well. Going to these other places, going quite far, travelling, hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to these other venues. If you pick up 1, 2, 3 or 10 fans, I mean, it's mission accomplished really. And then you're ticking off all these different places you're playing. But there's nothing like the feeling of playing at your hometown with all your friends and family in the audience. It's like packed out.
That is the best. That is so far. Those have been my favourite gigs, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Like our album release show at the 6-6 was like that, because we sort of organised it all ourselves with the help of the venue, of course. But it was just really special, because we were something like 4 tickets shy of selling the place out.
Oh, damn.
So the venue was happy.
Yeah.
We were happy. Friends were there. Family was there. And we're going to do more stuff like that again with you.
Yeah, hell
It's going to be sick.
Definitely. Wicked.
The next thing I've got written on our magical list here is Tangent.
Tangent.
That's what I've written. Okay, so we've decided on the tangent.
Yeah,
we're going to discuss what exactly we're going to do when we get incredibly big and famous and rich.
Just have loads of money that we can just spend on stupid stuff.
Yeah, if money simply was no longer an immovable object in your life, and you were an unstoppable force, what would you do? What's the first thing you'd do?
So I mean, let's say I already didn't have like I'd hope I'd have a house.
Yeah.
But like I wouldn't have my dream house yet. I'd have my dream house, which would be a house sort of in the countryside, but not too far away from like a village or a city, and a nice big house with a nice big garden, sort of. So if I do have kids, they'd have the same sort of upbringing I had, because I think it was the best. Have a big like unit thing in the garden, which would just be like a massive studio and like just music heaven in there.
Yeah, just a place where you can go whenever with whoever.
Yeah, and there'll be no one else around. There'll be no two neighbours, none of that stuff. There'll be no one. And I'm big into like shooting and doing like I do quite a lot of everything, because I just like learning and like doing stuff. So I'd have like quite handy. So I'd have like tools, a garage for cars and stuff, and I'd have the music space. And by that point, I'd have like probably double or triple of the same setup. I'd have 3 of the same drum kits, just because if we're touring and stuff like that, like if we're doing American tours or European tours or something like that, you'd have 2 of the same kit. Like you'd have like 2 or 3 of the same guitars, like backups. So I'd have like an exact copy of that in that studio space, and it'll be studioed up, like all microphones and stuff like that. Like I could just go in and record whenever, and that's the dream. Apart from that, the first like fuck you money sort of like thing I'd buy. I mean,
just completely indulgent.
I think we spoke about this before. Is a SUNMACHINE tank.
Oh fuck yeah, dude. Yeah.
Having a tank that we just like, it would be like black with the Sun cog like logo on it.
We've never talked about the legality. Are you allowed to do that?
You must be able to have a tank. I mean, as long as you don't like go around shooting people.
I guess.
Like,
but
I mean, I've seen people drive tanks on roads.
You've seen people drive tanks on roads?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've never seen that before in my life.
I'm on the road quite a lot, so I've seen it before.
That is true. Yeah.
Like, I mean, you must be. You could own a tank. Like, even if it doesn't go anywhere, you can own a tank.
And just have it.
If we had like SUNMACHINE headquarters,
yeah,
we could like just plonk a tank in the garden. It's like next to the Golden Fountain, we'd have a tank.
I like the idea of like the sort of SUNMACHINE tower, but it's in like central London, but then it's also got a tank. It's just annoying for everyone else, but for us it's like.
So none of this helipad malarkey. We just have like a tank pad.
You've got
the top.
Yeah, you've got like the big Google building in London, and then next to that, this is the SUNMACHINE headquarters. And it's just like.
To be fair, that would be pretty sick, having a SUNMACHINE headquarters.
It's a modest skyscraper where we can link up and hang out.
Yeah. What would be in it? What would be in it? What would it have in there? Would it just be like? Would we have like offices and stuff like that for people, for all our little monkeys that would work for us?
Yeah,
people
we
who
can
are
kind
booking
of
us gigs and stuff and managing all of our endless amounts of money that we'll have.
Yeah, well, I think I'd want it to be, if we're going to go down that route, which is a perfectly viable route, I don't care what anyone says. I'd want it to personally have a bit of like a retro aesthetic to it.
Okay,
so none of this like, you know, there's not like a Mac in sight, or if there is, it's like one of the old blue plastic ones. We got every desk as a fax machine.
Okay, yeah.
So you know, it's that kind of like very early internet sort of office.
Everyone comes to work in
space.
a white shirt, a tie, and a briefcase.
Yeah,
and it's sort of mopes around, and it's very old school type of deal.
Yeah. It's it's very proper. But then, like, so everybody else is all like suited and booted and that, but then we're walking around in like Hawaiian shirts. It's like, evening, fellas.
All right, guys.
All right.
We're SUNMACHINE.
Yeah, and then everybody else sees us and they're like, it's the guys.
We're just gonna go to our tank real quick.
Yeah, and I mean, what work exactly would all these people be doing?
Well, I guess like. I mean,
finances.
Finance would be a big one, I suppose. We'd have to have people managing. Obviously we're speaking theoretically, but if we were like one of the biggest bands, and we were doing tours all the time, like every year, and we were doing like loads of these massive gigs and festivals and stuff like that, like.
And that needs planning.
That needs planning. So we need obviously a pretty big management team.
Yeah, we're going to be planning. We're going to be planning world tours 5 years in advance, like back to back.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, standard procedure.
Yeah.
We'd have to have like quite a big management team to manage us. I'll need a lot of managing to stop me from buying quite a few tanks and stuff. And then we'd have a finance team. Obviously, you'd have to have a finance team.
Because we would also need a HR department for SUNMACHINE headquarters.
Of course.
Because there's so many people. So
Yeah.
there needs to be more people to help manage. There's people that can go complain to each other about really like offensive things that each other has said. And then they can have, little discussions about it and come to like a nice, neat little conclusion.
But everyone's always happy in SUNMACHINE headquarters.
Standard office politics stuff. We keep them happy,
Yeah, I reckon SUNMACHINE headquarters.
we're going to pay them so well that it's actually going to like affect the UK economy. Like inflation is going to be like stacked, but like only because we're so considerate of our employees. Does that make us assholes?
And we just employ everyone. Like, just some guy turns up, I've just got no GCSEs. You're hired and you're on a 7-figure salary.
Yeah.
It just ruin the economy.
He's just doing like very
Making
basic
coffees.
like Excel spreadsheets and that, and we're like, this is a fucking excellent graph, John. We're gonna up you from like 300,000 to 500,000, and you're gonna get a fucking extra 100,000 for the
Just get a 20% bonus.
Yeah. Just casually, because this graph is beyond words. You can really see how good we're doing. This is good, right?
Oh yeah.
This graph, we're on. Yeah, it's great.
As long as the graph is from diagonally left to right, going up,
That's
you're
what we
getting
wanna
a
see.
big old bonus.
Yeah.
100%.
Just keep it rolling. How are we making all this money?
I don't know, it's SUNMACHINE. I mean, come on, like all these world tours. I mean, all these people that want to come see us. I mean,
I guess we could start like a bank. We can SUNMACHINE band and
SUNMACHINE
also
bank.
bank. Yeah, the SUNMACHINE bank.
Yeah, I mean, this is like slowly taking over the world type of stuff.
Yeah, I reckon
We just have our own everything, and then we'd just be Elon Musk, and we could just shut down everyone because just own everything.
I think SUNMACHINE could be the next like BlackRock or something like that. You know, where those fucking pictures that get shared around where it's like a kind of chain of command of companies.
Yeah.
And it's like, it all leads back to like one of them,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, oh my god, the world is run by like fucking 5 companies. One of them is going to be SUNMACHINE. Yeah. You know, all the ones. There's going to be another path from all of the top dogs that leads back to SUNMACHINE.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to purchase all of them.
Well, we're gonna own it. Aside from SUNMACHINE headquarters, what's the first thing you'd buy then?
Same kind of thing you said. I mean, I want a studio. I want to work in a studio and run the studio and use the studio whenever I want. And, and people come to me to record, and I have a good time doing that. And then stuff that I'd definitely have like. I love cats.
Okay.
I'd want like not too many cats, but a couple of like
manageable amount of cats.
Yeah, maybe maximum 3 cats. I'm not really. I like dogs. I'm not really a dog person. I wouldn't have a dog personally, but I'd have one of those fucking weird looking cats. They're like
not the skinless ones.
No, I don't know, but similar.
Are they called Siamese?
Similar kind of vein again. I think they're called like Oriental short-haired cats, where they've got like really big bulbous noses and really big like dobby ears.
Oh really?
And they're quite big cats.
Oh, I've never seen it.
They look really funky.
I'm quite uneducated with cats. I mean, I'm a dog. I mean, I'd have dogs for sure. I mean, I don't hate cats. I like fluffy house cats. But I think if I was to have a cat and it'd like piss off, go and like mooch around the village, come back just to eat food, or look at me, maybe scratch me, and then go back outside again. They ain't running with me.
Oh, I love that.
Well, a house cat would be. I'd love a house cat for sure.
See, I do like dogs. I just wouldn't personally have one. I didn't grow up having dogs. Other people's dogs annoy me a little bit sometimes.
Really?
So I mean, I like dogs, but you know, I like seeing good dogs. Everyone likes seeing good dogs, but you just see someone else's dog do something fucking weird and the owner doesn't do anything. It's like annoying.
Yeah, it's bad owners, not bad dogs.
That's true. That's very true. But with cats, like it doesn't matter. It's if your cat's a dickhead, it's not your fault, and I like that.
Yeah.
The cat's just a dickhead.
I mean, it's not really a lot of. Obviously, there's some like basic sort of training you could give a cat, like simple cat manners, I suppose. But you can't like with a dog. Obviously, you can discipline them. I mean, they use like dogs in like military and police and stuff like that. So like, they don't really have like a sniffer cat. Maybe SUNMACHINE sniff cats. That's our business.
Oh fuck. That's a good idea.
Cat just goes, yeah, you're going to prison, mate.
It's like, why? Because the cat said so.
Just don't care, mate.
Cat snitch.
He actually doesn't know anything about drugs. He looks at people and just goes, you're going to prison. Don't like look at you, mate.
I'd have one of those, yeah.
I'd have one of those. What about like where you'd live though? Like, what's your ideal like spot for your house? If you don't mind me saying, you take me as a person who wouldn't really want like a big mansion.
No,
I think you'd quite like a homey feeling, like smaller house, but like comfortably.
I quite
big.
like my current house.
Yeah,
that I won't talk about much, so I don't dox myself. But I appreciate where I currently live quite a bit. Cause
it's really nice. I mean, that's where we are at the moment, and it's a very nice.
It's a small place, but it's like nearish the countryside, and I like that. God, someone's gonna fucking use that. If this podcast actually pops off the way I want it to, someone's gonna use that short description to find my fucking house.
Never, they can't.
It's small and it's nearish the countryside. That's too specific. Someone's gonna figure it out.
But like, where would you? I mean, let's say you wouldn't still be living here. You live somewhere else. What would your dream location be?
I like the south of England quite a bit. I definitely just want to be more travelled. I want to travel more. There's a bunch of places I want to go to. I'd love to go to Iceland. We're going to Germany later this year, which I'm very excited for. Because I've never been to Germany. The only countries I've been to, other than obviously England, is Wales. If you count Wales as another country, which it is.
Yeah.
So
that counts.
And then also Poland and France and Holland. So Germany is the next one.
You haven't been to Germany before?
No, I've never been to Germany before.
I haven't either. I've been to France quite a lot. I've been to Wales quite a lot because my family's Welsh. Been over there quite a lot. Been to France a lot. I've been to Austria as of last year. Been to Mexico as of this year. I've been to what's the one? All the chocolate.
Switzerland.
Belgium.
Yeah.
Belgium. Yeah. I went to Belgium for a year 6 school trip. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
So we drove in a coach all the way there.
Oh, fair.
So you go through somewhere. You go through France, I think.
Yeah. You go like to France and then up.
Yeah. But no, Germany's going to be a first for me, for sure. That's going to be pretty. We've got a pretty good setup over there, and we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah,
for sure.
I want to go outside of Europe because I never have. I definitely want to go to Japan.
Me too, 100%.
I would definitely want to go. I want to go to both South and North America, like see different places.
Yeah. Mexico was good.
Mexico.
It's really cool. I mean, I went there for like a lad's holiday, if you will, and obviously I didn't really see sights. I just saw like empty glasses and shot tequila, lots of tequila. Oh, mate, they love tequila over there. Because we did I went sea fishing out there, and we drove through quite a few like the city bits and stuff. It was really, really nice. But yeah, South America for me, I want to do quite a bit of traveling there. I want to go to America as well. Hopefully I'm going there next year. Yeah,
there's specific places in America that I'd quite like to go to. Like from what I've seen, like sort of rural California is really nice. I'd quite like to go to New York, although I mean, I have no experience of it, but I've heard really good and not so good things about New York. But I'd like to visit it.
Yeah. I want to see a New York rat, because apparently they're like size cats.
Hell yeah! Go to New York and just pick up a rat, and you're like, wow, I'm taking you back home. You just put them over your shoulder. Everyone's like, what the fuck, man? You're just like, this is the dream.
This is what I came here for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd want to go to Texas, just because of what I want to get out of America would be like proper Americans live in Texas. You know what I mean? Like proper patriotic Americans, proper like deserty stuff, like outside of the big cities.
Yeah.
Like desert roads, like proper like truck stoppy, really stereotypical cliche like American Texas.
Yeah, well, I'm very much
it.
like, because I kind of said Mexico as well, because I'm very fascinated by like the sort of flora and fauna around that area. So like cacti, I have this weird obsession with cacti.
Yeah, you have quite a few.
Yeah, so that's what I'd buy more plants.
Have your own like.
I'd probably do all the things that I do now, just way more extravagantly. If I was super rich, I'd like order stuff on Uber Eats and then tip the driver like 250 quid just to be like, fucking,
hell yeah,
you know, cool. be a cool dude who does stuff like that. That's what I
definitely. I definitely want to. I definitely do that sort of thing. I don't know. I just feel like not fun. I mean, it's funny, but not like because it's funny, but just because you can. I want to. I'd like to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd like to do things that make other people happy, but then also do extravagant things that I find kind of funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I'd get like crazy fucking wheels for my bike that are like gold plated, got like diamonds on them. Just be like,
they got like the chimes, and like this 3-year-old girls have like when they have like the beads and the spokes, so they make like noises as you go, as you wheel around.
Oh yeah. It's like it's hella noisy, jangly, like shiny gold bike.
Really look at me, I'm on a gold bike type of stuff.
Yeah, and just sort of bike around town, just.
Everyone's looking at you like, yeah.
Yeah, just bike
you got
around
a boombox
town.
on your shoulder.
Yeah. I'm wearing like full like weird designer clothes.
Latex.
Yeah. I get like really tight like designer clothes and just bike around. Barefoot though.
Yeah.
Sunglasses, like expensive fucking sunglasses that I don't even know the brand names of right now. Just kind of bike around, beer in hand.
Oh yeah.
Just I'm not. My hands aren't on the handlebars. I'm chain smoking cigarettes with one hand, which I don't do now, but I probably would just do it if I was rich. Because at that point, like, who cares? Just chain smoke cigarettes with one hand, drink beer with the other hand, and just bike around wherever I live.
What else do you need?
Blasting whatever music seems the least appropriate for the setting. So it was like a quiet village, or just blast fucking Cypress Hill like so loud. Whenever I see people, I wave at them like, "How you doing?"
And they just don't know what to do.
Yeah. If someone tries to like mug me, I'll just scream and just start throwing out cash. Just throw fucking racks at them.
It just doesn't stop.
Yeah, it's too much. It's annoying.
They get a bit frustrated. They actually give you some back because they're like, "Whoa, like this." I wanted to mug you, but like this is too much.
Yeah.
They start giving it back.
No. You know what? I wouldn't be such a pushover. I'd pull out the longsword that I had on my back the whole time, and like, give me your wallet.
That's it. That's how you.
And then they do, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need this, and I drop the wallet on the floor and cycle away.
Yeah, that's what Ross wants to do, guys. That's how Ross is going to be.
That's going to be.
So just to see.
That's all the cool.
It all comes full circle. So when we're big,
stuff.
when we are to put the story in
the Sun Machine story.
If you see us popping off and doing loads of world tours, best believe there will be a Sun Machine headquarters with a tank, and Ross will be biking around random villages, maybe near you, and an obnoxious golden bike, boombox, beer in hand, chain smoking cigarettes, and then you'll know we've made it.
Yeah. So if that sounds like a future that you want to see, be sure to fucking follow us on all the socials. Like and subscribe, spin our fucking record, spin our new music when it comes out.
Yeah.
Come see us live.
Yeah.
If you're in Leicester, oh fuck.
They're not gonna know about it.
They're not gonna know about it in time.
Oh, if you heard a sick band called Sun Machine, if you are one of the future Leicester fans that we're gonna meet when we do this gig later in a few hours.
Yeah, we should probably head off now. Actually, be there in time.
If you're listening to this because you become fans of us from playing at the Leicester gig, we haven't met you yet, and it's nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being our fan.
Yeah, thank you for making it such a memorable evening that may or may not happen still. It will. I mean, it's going to happen, but it may not be memorable. I don't know. But if you're one of the people that made it memorable, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And yeah, if you're I don't know, man. If you're a fucking venue that wants a sick fucking band, hit us up. I don't know.
Sun Machine.
Sun
Get
Machine.
us.
Sun Machine forever.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I think we're gonna wrap that up now. But Ethan, thank you for joining me. I'm sure you'll be back again.
Oh, 100%. I think we'll do a full band one relatively soon.
Yeah. 100%.
Thank you very much for having me, Ross. It's been a pleasure. It's my first podcast and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, it's your first? Right,
oh yeah,
first podcast ever.
Yeah, this is wicked.
Great.
Perfect.
Good stuff. All right. See you all again soon.
See you later.